She ran barefoot down the red clay hill every day as a child. Not because someone was chasing her, but because running was the only time she felt free. Her name was Amara. And from the day she was born, the village had already decided she didn't matter. Her mother died giving birth to her. Her spine was bent at birth, curved like a river reed in a strong current. Before she ever drew a full breath, the midwife whispered the words that would follow her for the next 20 years. The broken kola knot. In her village, the kola knot was sacred. Every prayer began by breaking it and sharing it. But a broken kola knot? That was set aside. Discarded before the prayer even started. That is what they made of Amara. Her father was not cruel. He fed her. He clothed her. He did not beat her. But he never once spoke her name. And in their culture, to withhold a name was to withhold existence. So she grew up invisible in her own home. There was only one person who refused to look through her. Her grandmother, Mama Chioma. Blind. Ancient. Unmovable. The day Amara was born, Mama Chioma traced the curve of her spine with her fingers, not with pity, but with reverence. Every curve has a reason, she said. The river does not apologize for bending. And then she gave her a name. Amara. Daughter of a king. Not because her father was royalty, but because every girl deserved sovereignty in her own name. There was also a boy. Emeka. Small, loud, overflowing with joy that seemed genuinely confused by sadness. At 5 years old, he decided, with total certainty, that Amara was his best friend. Not because he felt sorry for her. Because she was the only person who could beat him in a race. Her crooked gait became an advantage downhill. She flew. He would shout, "Your legs are cheating." And she would laugh. A full, unguarded laugh she never used around anyone else. Then at 7 years old, Emeka died. River fever. 3 days. Gone. After that, Amara stopped running. She stopped laughing like that. She built a wall around herself so carefully that by 22, she had almost forgotten there was anything left inside worth protecting. 3 days' journey away, in the kingdom of Onielu, there was a prince the people truly loved. Prince Kolechi. He wandered markets without guards. He argued with pepper sellers and sometimes lost on purpose. He listened more than he spoke. Then one season, without warning, he fell ill. It began as a fever. Then his body began to waste away. Every healer came. Every diviner. Every medicine man. None could help him. His father, King Obiora, who commanded armies with a glance, sat by his bedside each night and prayed like a man stripped of all power. Then an old diviner arrived. She examined the prince and said, "This sickness is not of the body. It is of the spirit." She said the cure must be brewed from the tears of one who had suffered the deepest loneliness, someone the world had tried to make bitter, and failed. The king's messengers searched across the land. They found sadness. They found anger. They found bitterness everywhere. But what they needed was rarer. Then one trader brought back 3 words. The broken kola knot. When the king's men came for Amara, the village did not protest. There was relief in the air. She gathered her few belongings and left without a word. At the palace, the healers told her she would weep so her tears could be used for medicine. She listened. Then she said quietly, "My tears will not work." The room went still. "I have been loved," she said. "My grandmother traced my spine like it was sacred. A boy once ran beside me every day and called my crooked legs the fastest he had ever seen. Those loves are still inside me. My tears carry them." From behind a curtain, a weak voice spoke. "Let her in." Prince Kolechi. He looked at her, not through her. At her. He asked her about the boy. She told him about the hill. The red clay. The laugh she hadn't spoken aloud in 15 years. When she finished, his eyes were wet. Then she showed him a dried sprig of a plant she had found years ago growing from a cliff no healer had ever climbed. I don't know its name, she said. But I've watched sick birds eat its seeds. I've watched animals press against it in heat. The healers climbed the cliffs. They brewed the herb. 3 days later, the prince's fever broke. Within a week, he was walking. They named the plant Uli Amara, the mark of Amara. The king offered her gold and land. She accepted a small house near the palace village. Then Kolechi began to visit. With mangoes. With questions. He kept coming back. Not as a prince rewarding a subject, but as someone who had found something rare. They argued. They laughed. They debated politics and plants and cooking. He accused her of cheating when she beat him at games. She told him he was simply bad at losing. One morning he was late. Amara stood at her doorway watching the path. Her chest tightened. And she realized she was afraid he wouldn't come. That fear told her everything. When he finally spoke of marriage, the council objected. They spoke of lineage, of image, of tradition. They did not shout. They spoke softly about what a queen must look like. Kolechi stood before them and said, "She has carried pain since birth and never once let it turn her bitter. If healing her body will open your eyes, then I will travel to the ends of this land to ease her pain. Not because she must change to deserve love, but because love does something." He left on an 8-day journey east. Not as a prince on display. As a man with purpose. A seer there gave him roots and bark and medicine, saying her body might move slowly, patiently, toward healing. When he returned, dusty and tired, he handed her the bundle. "I came back," he said. "You came back," she replied. The months that followed were quiet. Medicine at sunrise. Warm mixtures at dusk. And slowly, so slowly she barely noticed at first, the pain eased. Her spine began to straighten. Not perfectly. But enough. Enough to stand taller. Enough to sleep through the nights without pain for the first time in her life. When she stood beside Kolechi before the council again, she did not pretend to be smaller than she was. The king stepped down from his throne. He said her name. Amara. With the full weight of it. "You are welcome in this family," he said. "Not because of what you did. Not because you are healed. Because my son sees clearly." There was no objection. They married at the end of the dry season. On the second morning, Amara stood at the river and whispered 2 names into the water. "Mama Chioma. Emika." "I made it," she said softly. "I am loved." The current carried her words away. They called her the broken kola knot. They set her aside before the prayer even started. And she saved the prince. She healed a kingdom. She became a queen. Not despite what they said she was, but because she survived it. The river does not apologize for bending. And a river that bends is not broken. It is finding its way to the sea. Nkobu. So it is. And so it was.